You're Sperp back with another video, and I just got done watching the first season of Fright Krewe. This was made by Eli Roth, and we are in New Orleans, and we got a brand new family animated horror series that kind of blew me away and just exceeded my expectations. Starting out with just the first episode, and there will be spoilers because I gotta talk about certain things that kind of play out in this first season, and I really hope that they make a season 2 and beyond. So we have our 5 main characters that we're introduced to. Soul, she is in the middle. She's pretty much like this tour guide around New Orleans, showing different people just the culture of New Orleans as far as how they handle the supernatural, the voodoo-ness of everything. And come to find out, she is a descendant of the Voodoo Queen herself, and she has a interesting group of friends. We get introduced to Pat. He's kind of like the new kid. He's the squid, but his aunt is from New Orleans, so he's just living with his aunt. And Misty, a character that Missy used to be Soul's like best friend growing up, but she is kind of going through an interesting phase where she wants to be kind of more a part of the popular crowd. Then we have my favorite character, Maybe. His actual name is Will, but they just call him Maybe. And also Stanley. I'll just say this straight up off the jump. Stanley is like my least favorite character out of the bunch. But, you know, one thing leads to the next, where they end up getting in trouble in school and they have to clean this cemetery. And what lies in the cemetery is this old tree. And what Soul likes to do is she likes to scare people a lot. So she ends up scaring her group of friends, and her and Missy are kind of clashing. You know what I'm saying? They're not as close as they used to be. One thing leads to the next, though. Soul gets like a prick on her finger, and blood starts to drop onto this tree, which releases this ancient demon, and also is how they get their powers at the same time from these different Loas. I think that's what they call them. These are these like voodoo kind of spirits. Like Pat got Papa Legba, so he can kind of talk to and understand spirits and different creatures. Soul, pretty much, she's the Avatar, bro. She can firebend, she can manipulate wind, she can, do a lot of stuff with her powers. We didn't see the full extent of her powers, but it's interesting. Missy, she gets super strength, and Maybe has the best power, I feel like, where he could kind of tap into the shadow realm and also kind of use that as like an invisible cloak. And while he's in the shadow realm, he can look at people, he can see people's true intent and just see all these different spirits and stuff. Stanley, he gets knowledge because he's the dumb one, so they don't really do much with that, but anything he kind of touches, he can kind of run down the information and the history of that. So then we get to episode 2, where we have this malevolent spirit, the big bad Belial, which his name gets revealed later on in the series. He starts to kind of manipulate Missy because he sees anger in her and she wants revenge. And what he does, he feeds off of people's fear, and that's how he's able to kind of regain his strength. And once he gets all his strength, it's kind of like almost game over for everybody. And I loved how they set that up in the second episode, where Missy was hell-bent on pretty much killing Soul, but she's able to kind of stop that in a way. But it cost Missy almost her life, where she was at a life or death kind of situation, where then we get introduced to Ouroboros, and that creature had to transform her to kind of save her life. And there's vampires, ghouls, evil, fairies, and everything within this world. And I like the mythos that they kind of build around. So they have to kind of band together to stop Belial from regaining all of his strength. But also, as they're going through each episode, you kind of learn more about certain individual characters. Like, maybe comes from a family of artists and musicians. He's into art, he's into music and whatnot. His brother's into it. And I really like what they did with episode 6 with Pat's character and his father, and what ends up happening to Pat's father and how he ends up dead, and just how they're able to kind of, get put into these situations and test out their powers and test out their limitations. And I'm pretty sure that they're going to be able to do more in the future. And my favorite arc, though, was definitely Missy's, because she definitely went through the most as far as trying to find out where she kind of belongs in all of this. So she is an important character, a very important character, but I'm okay with them kind of giving her the back seat, not completely, because things still revolve around her. I think they just wanted to kind of give you a little bit more of the other individual characters. Now, the villains in this are really dope, and there are 2 villains. It's Mayor Richard First, and Belial. And these 2 are kind of working together to kind of get what each one wants. Where Richard, he wants to kind of get revenge on the vampires and the Roboros for letting his wife die. And he uses this opportunity, or this partnership he has with Belial, to kind of complete this. But it just seems like they're failing every step of the way up until the end, which the ending went really crazy, as you thought that Richard was the one that had everything kind of figured out. He was able to kind of pull one over on Belial, but then Belial kind of flipped the script. And at the same time, where this whole war kind of breaks out between the vampires and the Rubarus and stuff, that's pretty much orchestrated by Richard, he thinks that he has Belial trapped in this whole entire spell, not knowing that he's just kind of playing along. And this forces Soul to kind of turn to use this kind of vial that has this vampire blood to turn Richard into a vampire, to kind of release Belial. But Belial's oh, you just fell into my trap. You know what I'm saying? This was all part of my trap to kind of get everybody in here, this fear, and you know what I'm saying? But now he has his full power back, and now he can summon other demons and stuff like that. They tease that. And I'm curious to see what's going on with Soul's kind of powers, because it seems like they're not working, or Belial kind of did something. But he wants her for some specific reason, maybe because she's a descendant of the Voodoo Queen, and she has to kind of figure out a way to defeat him. But I really liked this first season. I thought it was really solid. They set up a lot of lore, a lot of the supernatural, and just the humor also is pretty interesting. You know what I'm saying? And I'm surprised that this wasn't on something like Disney Plus, but it is a family show, even though there are some disturbing images, I would say, for the least. And the animation, I think, is really solid, because it kind of blends that 2D, 3D kind of effect. Overall, I enjoyed it from start to finish, and I think if you have kids and whatnot, they're going to love it as well. If you have seen it, let me know your thoughts of it in the comments below. Till next time, I'm out.